Policing is a very contentious subject in Nigeria. There's lots of public debate, but not much systematic evidence to base it on. As well as the obvious problems with corruption or badly trained and abusive officers, there are many who are trying to do their job in an environment which does little to encourage them. My name is Ollie Owen. I'm a junior research fellow in international development at the University of Oxford, and my area of research is supporting reform in the Nigeria Police Force. My interest in the Nigeria Police Force came about when I lived there and encountered the police and their problems every day. In the mid-2000s, it was common for a drunken officer to wave a gun in your face at checkpoints and even demand money, so I wanted to know what was driving this behaviour. At the beginning of my research, I made a commitment to give the Nigeria Police feedback from the project. I wanted to show them that they should trust researchers and develop an ongoing conversation. For 5 years, I worked with more than 130 police officers of various ranks to explore the world of policing from their point of view. I felt that if we found out more about how these individuals feel and behave, we could use the evidence to try and influence public debate and perhaps eventually policymakers and officials. Several things became clear in this research, particularly how at risk the police feel, both in terms of direct physical risk, but also career risk if they step out of line or offend powerful people. Another thing that came out was how under-equipped and under-trained police officers often innovate practices to meet popular demands for justice and order making, including things like informal mediation, which often replace prosecution. And it also became clear that though the public have a lot to say about the problems of the police, they do still use them and expect that ideally they should be able to do their job well. I did a pilot workshop to discuss my research findings with the police and with the DFID-supported Justice for All programme in Nigeria. Then the ESRC supported 5 more workshops and the publication of a working paper. We circulated it to policymakers and stakeholders in Nigeria and in the UK, but primarily to police officers and the technical advisors who train them. Rather than using it to go around telling people what they should be doing, I used it as a basis for more open discussions. The evidence from these studies was then used by the Inspector General of the Police, as well as policymakers and Nigerian civil society groups to implement and support reform. I was quite surprised how open the police have been internally to this research. I think its main contribution is to feed grassroots perspectives back to the higher echelons in a respectable academic format. The idea is to use practice to change policy as much as the other way round. So, for instance, if the police are mostly used for dispute resolution, why not train them better in that and reinforce success rather than concentrating on areas in which they have little to build on? That idea was picked up by the immediate past Inspector General, who already began to take action on it. One of the most frustrating things has been political interference with the police. Just recently, Nigeria's outgoing president sacked the Inspector General whose team I was working with, without giving a reason, using Twitter. The police had just been praised for their conduct in the elections by the US ambassador, so it's even possible he was being scapegoated for not helping the government in the elections. The new government has said that it's interested in reforming governance of the police, so the next step would be to work with civil society groups and the police to see how this can be addressed without falling back into those traps of politicisation which hold policing back.